Peace and love. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you're a returning viewer, as I always say, I appreciate you checking the content out, helping me keep this platform going. This is going to be on another touchy subject. This is on his brother, 49-year-old James Tatsch, who was found dead in his cell. No crime. He didn't commit any crimes. He had a mental illness. He was incarcerated for 12 days, didn't receive any type of help, and they found him dead in his cell. He was unresponsive by the time he got to medical care. I'm doing this one because I also lost a friend incarcerated. He was incarcerated for 48 hours and they found him in his cell. And so I did a video last month on 215 bodies that were found behind a penitentiary, I believe in Mississippi. And so we're going to jump straight into it without holding y'all. Peace and love, family.
On behalf of Alcorn County, you know what I'm saying? Jay, where you at? We're trying to help our people elevate. Hope. H-O-P-E. We're giving them hope. We doing what we gotta do, you know. Every day, one step at a time, man. We gonna make it happen. Helping our people elevate. Yeah. Sometimes I practice focused thought and meditate. I'm trying to come with other ways to help our people elevate and seeking knowledge, make me levitate. The lifted mental state is what results from how we orchestrate. This for the family's sake. Let's self-reflect and self-evaluate. And every day, make sure the steps you take, you calculate. Receive a master's fate. I know I can't exist without the hate, but that's okay. I balance that with higher self today. Success is on this way, and after that, my flesh can pass away.
Charged with no crime, locked up for 12 days, he died waiting for help. James Tatsch was not charged with any crime, but when he was found unresponsive in an isolation cell at the Alcorn County Jail on January 17th, he had been locked up for 12 days. He died at a local hospital. Tatsch was waiting for mental health treatment through Mississippi's involuntary commitment process. Every year, hundreds of people going through the process are detained in county jails for days or weeks at a time while waiting for the evaluations and hearing and treatments. They are generally treated like criminal defendants and receive little to no mental health care while jailed. Mississippi Today and ProPublica previously reported that since 2006, at least 14 people have died after being jailed during this process. Tatsch, who was 48 years old, is at least the 15th. No one in the states keep track of how often people die while jailed for this reason. The news organizations identify the deaths through lawsuits, news clips, and Mississippi Bureau investigation reports. MIB investigates in-custody deaths only at the request of local sheriffs or district attorneys. Alcorn County Sheriff Ben Caldwell said Tatsch's cause of death is unclear. It is not a suicide and there were no signs of physical trauma. Medical staff at the jail had recently checked on him and not seen any concern, Caldwell said. Tatsch had been eating normally and had conversations with the jail staff. Obviously, he was going through a mental health crisis, and there were times where he was not his normal self, I guess, Caldwell said. Caldwell said he doesn't think people should be sent to his jail solely because they need mental health treatment, but it is not uncommon. He worries about keeping them isolated in a bare cell while they are in a crisis. The cell where Tatsch spent his final days in had no television. If you have a stroke or you have any other medical issues, you're in a hospital or under doctor's care, whereas if it's a mental issue, if there is no beds available, then you come to jail, Caldwell said. Caldwell said that Tatsch was homeless and had come from Alcorn County from the coast. The sheriff's department was unable to reach his family, but the Mississippi Bureau of Identification eventually located a former girlfriend of his late father. Through Facebook, Mississippi Today reached a woman who said she was Tatsch's niece, but she did not know him personally. Under Mississippi law, a person going through the commitment process must receive a pre-evaluation by their local community mental health center and then 2 more evaluations before having a hearing where a judge decides whether to order them into inpatient treatment. It isn't clear whether Tatsch had a hearing during his 12-day incarceration. The Department of Mental Health says the whole process should take no more than 7 to 10 days, but it collects no data on whether counties are actually hitting the target. The agency does not know that a person is going through the process until a commitment order is entered by a judge and collects only limited data on the number of people jailed while they await help. DMH Director Wendy Bailey recently told the Senate Public Health Committee that the average length to wait in jail for a state hospital bed is under 3 days, but that the figure doesn't include any time people spend in jail before their hearings. Tommy Sweet, the new special master who handles commitment hearings in the county, told Mississippi Today that he was appointed to the position within the last couple of weeks, has not yet held a hearing, and was not familiar with Tatsch. Polly Tribble, the executive director of the Disability Rights Mississippi, said Tatsch's death illustrates the need for greater oversight of the commitment process. It stands to reason that once somebody is booked, and I don't even like that term, for commitment proceedings, that's then when DMH needs to get involved and know about that person, she said. Of course, we don't know what happened to this man and if any of that could have been prevented, but it highlights the problems that we have. Caldwell said he did not know where in the process Tatsch was. Alcorn County Chancery Clerk Keith Settlemyers, whose office is responsible for coordinating the process, did not respond to calls or an email seeking information. His office eventually told Mississippi Today to stop calling. Jason Ramsey, the executive director of Region 4, the community mental health center that serves Alcorn County that provides initial screening during the commitment process, said he could not commit on a specific patient. Lawmakers are currently discussing proposals that would limit the use of jail to detain people during the commitment process, which the Department of Mental Health supports. One measure, sponsored by Rep. Kelvin Felcher, would allow jail detentions only for protective custody while someone awaits transportation to a medical facility and only for up to 72 hours. In an interview, Felcher emphasized that he doesn't know specifics of Tatch's case and isn't pointing a finger at anyone, but he believes people should not be jailed solely on the basis of mental illness. If jail detentions are necessary, they should be for the shortest amount of time possible. Mental illness is a medical condition, not a crime, he said. What are you doing in jail for 12 days if you haven't committed a crime? So there are some questions to be asked there. The Alcorn County Clerk's office was in the midst of the transition when Tatsch was booked into the jail. Settlemyers, who had no prior experience working in the office, had just been sworn in. The commitment process can be complicated, requiring clerks and their staff to coordinate evaluations and try to find placements for people in the midst of mental health crisis. Deputy Clerk Caroline James said commitments are currently handled by whoever in here that can take the commitments. We had a person that did our court work that is no longer here, so we're just kind of doing the best that we can right now, she said. When no bed is available at the crisis stabilization unit or a local hospital, people going through the process go to jail, she said. James said she does not know who runs the crisis stabilization unit. We're trying to do as right as we can, she said. It's just a bad situation with all this mental health stuff. Ramsey, the director of the Region 4, which operates the Coordinate Crisis Unit, said he was surprised that James did not know the Region 4 runs the facility. I'll make sure that rectifies, he said. In an email, Department of Mental Health spokesman Adam Moore reiterated that the agency supports legislative proposals to require a pre-evaluation before someone is detained during the commitment process and to restrict jail detentions. It is a priority for us this season to work with the legislators and other stakeholders during the legislative process, and we will continue to do so during this week and the months ahead in the session, he said.